Uh, Thank you for dropping by the stream. Typically, I like to start by looking at some fundamentals. Let's see if we can share the screen. Nice. All right. So starting off, the fear and greed index. Yesterday we had 14 for our score. Now we have 13. This follows as some of well, price action on Bitcoin has dropped a little bit, and we were able to capitalize on a relative short. Oh, hey, NYSE, welcome. Now, looking at the liquidation levels in terms of leverage, we can see that um, we basically now have an upset where the shorts now outweigh the longs, even down to the 1 day. I'm sure the 7 day is still a different story, right? And the 30 day will still. The 30 day has about an even amount. Now, one thing to note is that here on the 30 day, we're much closer to the long clusters to the downside, which is why I do think that we are still going to see some downside before we push up, and you'll see why I do think we are going to push up apart from the technicals, of course. So that's what it looks like from the leverage perspective. I do think we can tap maybe sub 70, just a quick tap below it. That would be very much in the cards. Looking at the RSI heat map, it's returned to neutral. We were strong yesterday, but we have since dropped. The 12-hour does show that we still have some outliers such as ENJ. ZEC has now fallen from overbought to strong, so we can definitely take a look at ZEC again, or Zcash. Same thing right here, we've fallen from overbought on the 24-hour. Tau is also something that the RSI heat map is showing. And we are moving back towards neutral from weak. So we have the likes of Solana, Pengu's over here, Aptos, Aster, Doge, Sui. Uh, they're all pushing up. Bitcoin Cash has gotten back to neutral, and we also see some other coins such as FET, Near Protocol, Hype, Tron. So all these coins we'll be checking out today. Looking at the liquidation heat map for Bitcoin, we can see that the short side has now built up a lot more liquidity with a hotspot resting at about 73,000. Now, in previous streams, I've been on record saying that if you're able to reclaim 72,000 and stay above it, you're likely going to squeeze to about 73,000. No. 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 I'm doing fine, but I am not Mr. Wayne. Uh, for context, I don't think Sauceman or Red Dog were here last week, but I just had a massive cold, and it changed my voice so bad. It sounded like I was Batman, but yeah. Anyways, let's go to a higher time frame here on the heat map or the liquidation map. We can see that there are hotspots about 70,000 on the downside here on the 48-hour, which again aligns with my idea that we can see subs. We'll see sub 70k before we push all the way up to 73, right? I do think we're primed for that at the moment. Looking at the 1 week, we can also see that there's a massive hotspot about 66,000. I don't think we're going to get that just yet based on the technicals, but I'll discuss that when we look at the charts in just a moment. So same thing with the 2 week. Let's go to the 6 month just to see sort of our bigger scale here, right? The upside target, or like the hotspots at 66,000, is nothing compared to our hotspot about 98,000. Again, I don't think we're getting to 98,000 exactly, but I think somewhere around the 83 to 90k region makes a lot of sense as just a tiny push, get rejected by resistance, and then just nuke to the downside. So that about does it for the fundamentals. Right, let me pull up the chart, see what we've got. Okay. Right, so first things first, our 1 week chart. Now, starting the week off, we did get a push back above the 9 EMA, but now we're kind of testing it again. So it hasn't been confirmed yet if we've been able to get above the 9 week EMA. Right now it's acting as major resistance, right? But we are squeezing between our 200 week EMA, Our 200 moving average was our sole savior right over here. And now we're basically squeezing in between these reactors, in between these moving averages. Let me just turn off our drawings for just a second. So as you can see, we're squeezing right here. Given that our CPO plus is pointed upwards, given that the delta between buying and selling is decreasing, I do think that you're going to get a push to the upside. And again, I've also been on record saying that a push to this area makes a lot of sense. Even just from a visual standpoint without mathematics, if you drew sort of the volatility in this candle and you place it right over here, it's absolutely possible. In fact, it just touches the 200-day moving average. Now, is that what's going to happen? Is that likely? I'm not. I don't think so. If I'm being honest, I do think we get to this lower high zone, right? So I should move this circle up a little bit. So anywhere from here, I think that is a good spot. There's also this extension on the trend line, which does place you next week at the high of maybe 87,500. So again, it's possible for us to just yoink. Yoink, is yoink the right term? Just yoink ourselves to the 200-day moving average, but it's not that probable in my opinion. But it's possible, right? So that's why I do think we are going to target some of that liquidity to the upside that we saw in the hotspot. And of course, we are tracking bear flags and whatnot. So we got the bear flag there, push down, push down. We got our bullish butt cheeks over here, and now we are on the trajectory to push up. However, of course, our lower time frames are telling us a different story. So if I go to our lower time frames right here, now I did announce a short yesterday, and I did say that it was technically invalid because it tapped 70,800. So that was right over here when I said that. Now, did say that there was the possibility, based on the 30 minutes, because of the fact you got your green triangle, that it would revisit your entry, and in fact, it did. So right now, I have a long at about 62,000, and this hedge short sitting over here. Now, what I'm seeing, based on our 4-hour and based on our 30 minutes, is that we want downside. However, notice that your 4-hour hasn't touched the zero line yet, right? Your 30 minutes, on the other hand, is about to reach its zero line, and the momentum on the MVP ribbon, indicated here, is about to fall off your fluid zero line. So I do think a push to this point makes a lot of sense. We can also see our reactors are sitting there. Now, the 4-hour chick magnet does say you want to push up to maybe 70,287, which happens to be where your reactors are. So I do think that might be a great place to take profits if we get a confirmed bounce. So damn, that's a lot of questions. One go. But yes, how is my fan? I don't think my fan's hitting me right now, unfortunately, but it is nice and cool. It's a little bit too cold. So I don't know if you guys have ever been on a Zoom meeting where you wear like something a little bit more formal up top and you just have shorts in the bottom. TMI, but that's me right now. Like, if I'm being honest. So like, and my aircon is just, well, we call it aircon here in the Philippines, but my AC's on the ground for some odd reason. I was questioning it, but at this point, I've lived in this house for what, 7 years. It's best not to question those things. But yeah, it's hitting me directly, and I gotta wear a jacket, or else I'm just gonna freeze and shiver while doing the stream. But back to your question, name of the volume indicator, it is bar magnified volume profile fixed range by chart prime. Let's remove that so we can actually see what it says. Yeah, this right here, it is a free indicator. I like it a lot because I came from the traditional VRVP, so volume range volume profile, or visible range volume range, visible range volume profile by TradingView. But I like this a lot because unlike that, or the visible range volume profile, where it constantly moves if you zoom out, right? At least here you can set how far back you want to look. So right now I have mine set at 200, but honestly you can set it to 500. I don't know why you do that, but you absolutely could. So look back period is just how many candles it's looking back, right? And it tells us a lot of things. First of all, the point of interest right here, it tells us that we've lost it, and so we're bearish. And the point of interest acts like a magnet for price action. But since you just lost it, we're gonna go most likely to the next volume node, which is over here at 69,000. Hence why my take profit is around that area, right? You've also lost it here on the 4 hour. But once you're able to potentially go for it. Actually, I don't know what this. I should probably hide this. I have no clue what this is. Um, but once you're able to go for the next volume node, which is over here, right? You probably will get a bounce. That's how volume profiles work. So there's likely some kind of bounce that's going to happen here, and we have a lot of support at this region. Hence why I might take profits there. Uh, my opinion on Nasdaq based on technicals, economic data in terms of ceasefire appearing to fall apart. Well, you know, the news being confusing is something that we've always had to deal with, right? And because we're dealing in the futures market, technically speaking, it's all speculation, which is why it being erratic doesn't really concern me, because at this point you can consider that a constant. But what we can see based on the candlesticks, right? And um, a good friend of mine who's also a trader, uh, he basically said that the candlesticks are sentiment. It's all sentiment. Like if you look at this, it's all sentiment. Are there some technicals that make it make sense? Are there fundamentals that make it make sense? Yes. But this is really just sentiment. So people selling off like this, bearish sentiment. People are bearish. But Bitcoin pushing up like this now, there is some way to, or there is an argument to be made that there is a bullish sentiment, and it's sort of taking over as things just don't make sense in the world right now. So I guess in terms of the ceasefire, I don't, from a humanitarian perspective, of course I care, right? I think that war is terrible. The people over here where I live, right? Gas prices are affecting livelihood. Some people don't even get to eat despite working like 12-hour shifts. So of course I care whether or not the ceasefire is real. But from like a trading perspective, you really couldn't give two craps about it. It's all just lights and glimmer. That's how I would say. Um, Nasdaq based on technicals and economic data. I mean, if everything in terms of price is going up because of the fact that you have oil disruptions, then absolutely I would expect some weakness for all companies. Uh, a lot of companies. I don't know if uh, where you guys locally live, right? But a lot of companies here have already said that, yeah, our business isn't going to be sustainable if oil prices, like major corporations, right, the big three over here, uh, they basically said that it's not going to be sustainable. So with every single input becoming more expensive, that basically chips away at margins, it chips away at performance. I in terms of the overall economic sentiment, I do think there is some bearishness. However, having said that, um, it's actually very fun that you asked Stock Scalping Samurai, because NYSE put me on some homework yesterday, and essentially based on how I understand the fundamentals of some companies. Let me just pull out my notes, which is just on my phone. There are some companies that are going to continue to thrive no matter what. Uh, but all of them are just like your boring, will probably increase by 7% companies like Apple. Uh, yeah. So let me just find it. I might be 21, but honestly, I treat my phone like I'm a boomer, which is a little concerning if you think about it. Yeah, so some companies I do think like on NYSE is a little bit scary, but for the Nasdaq, let's check out Nasdaq. How is it doing? Uh, which one do you use here? NDAQ, or do you use the mini Nasdaq? MQ, NQ. Okay. Hey, Hemdroid, welcome. Also, you're going for the. I think it's definitely going for the reactor. Don't know if we're going to get continuation to the downside, but it's certainly possible. If you fall below the reactors, then then you're going to go down. Uh, but I do think there is some logic for it to bounce, though. But yeah, I mean, I don't think now is the time to short. I don't think the RR is there. Oh shoot, we should just go back. I don't think the RR is there to short now. You could, right, short here and then stop loss above here, but really I don't know if that's the best idea right now. Because again, I do think the 4 hours just going for the FVG quantum reactor and going for this high volume node, and you can see it lines up perfectly on the 30 minutes. So I think this might be some strong support. We'll have to see. Uh, yeah, but we'll see. Given that it's just the first 18 minutes of market open, this is a little bit suspect, and you can see that technically you can be setting up for some sort of inverted BART, right? But then this also kind of looks like it could be a. It's not a good looking one, but it could be some kind of wedge, right? And because you have this long stick, that is a continuation to the upside, but it's kind of ugly if I'm being honest. So it might not be, which is why we have to wait and see. All right, let's go back to NQ. Okay, so right now on the technicals, I mean, NQ is definitely doing better than Bitcoin. It's only fallen a little bit, right? Nasdaq's only fallen a little bit, and you've got peak bottoms over here and over here, which is actually very good. Uh, if we zoom out though, let's say to the 1 day, it is a continuation, right? You did recover and reclaim that 200-day moving average. You did get a money flow divergence, and you've basically shifted your trend, at least in terms of buying and selling. So people are buying the Nasdaq, right? Now, global sentiment aside and macro sentiment aside, right? While you did get a bearish divergence on the 4 hour, technically it's playing out right now, but I do see NQ potentially pushing. Hold on, I'm gonna drink some water. Oh dear, the run-ons are running. Okay, that should be better. Um, what setting should I use for scalping the Nas? Okay, I'll just quickly answer this. What scalping should I use for scalping the Nasdaq on the 3 minute? I would test uh, maybe 100 or 120, right? But 200 for me is pretty good. I think you're referring to the fixed range. Uh, but yeah, I wouldn't go. Maybe I'd go a little lower than 200, maybe like 144 even. The reason being 200 might be a little bit too far back for scalping the 3 minutes. You want as early or a little bit earlier data so it doesn't lag a little bit. So I probably look at 144. You can try 144. Yeah, I'd raise it to 100 to 144. Okay. Ooh. You know, it's so funny. Yesterday there was like no one talking past like 10:30, and now I'm just getting all the questions. This is so fun. 50-minute Orbison. Yes, Ali man. But I currently see more upside until it hits the OB zone. Yeah, I do think so too. Yeah, I know. I do think a move to 73 and then a quick rejection there back to 72 and 71 5 ish is what I'm looking for Bitcoin. Aw, thank you so much. But no, I think that, well, thank you. And yeah. uh, you know that meme where it's like cloudy with a chance of meatballs? This is like sweet enough to make a grown man cry. Yeah. But I think it's really the initiative to ask questions. I think that's the best thing about, well, anything, right? Being able to admit or being able to openly accept critique and whatnot. I think that's what really pushes someone further. But yeah, anyways, back sentiments aside, uh, back to the Nasdaq. I do think Nasdaq is gonna go up higher, based solely on the 1 day. The 4 hour is getting some sort of retracement. That's true, but you are consolidating technically. Notice that you are above your point of interest. You are above the highest point of volume, and here on the 1 day, that is very much true. You also can see that there is sort of this huge gap between where you are right now, where price action is, and where the next high volume node is. So to me, I think that you can do something like this and then push to about 25,699 and face some kind of resistance there. If we pull out predictive ranges, and let's turn this off just to see, you can see it's actually dead on that 618 right here, right? So this area right here is going to act as very strong resistance. But as it stands, we have this gap. We kind of want to go up. We might get our OB on the 1 day at this point, and I would probably look to short the NASDAQ around this area. It could push up further, right? Something could push it up further. Uh, right? And this goes just like massively overbought. It's absolutely possible. But as it stands, technically, this area right here is a good place to short. And it also is resistance on the 4 hour, which is quite interesting, right? Basically, a lot of things are. I mean, you could probably push 25,921. So I'd look at. Whatever is this? This range. Oh, move this a little bit. Yeah. Or somewhere around this range. So if I grab a box. But as it stands, I'd probably go long on NASDAQ. Yeah. Let's go back to Bitcoin. 25,750. Yeah, 25,750 is like the bottom part. Maybe 25,666. Ah, auspicious. What's the opposite of auspicious? Such a. I don't know. Okay, go back to BTC. I should know because I applied for law school. I should know these terms. Let's go back to the 30-minute here. Yeah, so if we break through here, we are going to get our move to 69, sub 69 really quick, and then I think we're going to go up. Obvious. You think SFP on BTC around 72? Yeah, I do think so. I don't think that would be the top, but it's definitely resistance. So you can see that right here on the 4 hour back in March before uh, the whole like bigger crash, because we had this huge ass crash, but then we did push all the way back up. Right here is that point of resistance, so it's around 74. I don't think we're gonna run it up that high again before retracing, because I think we're going to go for I should turn off, actually, yeah, let's just turn off the drawings here. You can see that we do have resistance over here, right? Because so this is support that we reclaimed, resistance that we flipped into support, resistance that we flipped to support. Now we're trying to get up to 72.80. We got rejected, right? And we're gonna try to flip this resistance into support, right? So we got rejected. So we're going to try to just get some liquid, run it up. And if we do run it up, now we have to face this support that has since become resistance. So it was support over here, became resistance, and then consolidation, break to the downside. So we do want to get back to around this level. And I think we basically squeeze between this area and the last or the support we just reclaimed. So what is this? That is over here down to here. So this area right here is just going to be where we most likely will get rejected. I realize there's a lot of drawings. I should probably clean this up, or just turn off everything so it's a little bit clearer. But yeah, but notice that despite the fact that we are technically in a bearish trend at the moment, right, this hasn't really broken structure. In fact, that kind of looks like a very nice channel. So if I just quickly hide this thing and then turn off our indicators, right, this is just a flag. Oh. And that pushes you up to 76. Again, I said that if you reclaim 72, you can just squeeze to 75. So I do think it's possible. Okay, let's connect them. Yeah, I do think it's possible. Do I think it's possible within the next 3 days? I don't know. Or probable? It's possible. It's not probable. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Anyways, going back here. Let's see how we react at 10 p.m. because that is 10 a.m. because that is when we get the 30-minute close, and then we'll be able to see how we do against this, because this is a untouched FVG on the 30 minutes, and you can see this area is also the highest volume or highest price with the price with the highest traded volume on the 4-hour. Yeah. Oh, I guess while waiting, is NYSE still here? Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I remember my homework. Yeah. I remembered my homework. So, fundamentally, when I was looking at my research, just pulling off my notes, oh shoot, I lost my notes. No. Okay. QBTS and Rigetti Computing, they're kind of very risky. So, I guess just as a summary of what I found, QBTS has like nothing. They've made nothing, and they have a crazy cash burn. So it's kind of concerning, right? However, it is experimental, and because of that, there you can like rationalize that because it's experimental, because the cash burn is there, even if you do have negative negative across the board, you should be able to get anywhere from like 100% upside potentially if it works, right? But it's definitely going to be kind of a hurdle, and it's definitely something you have to really believe in to basically buy in. But if you don't fully believe in it, then I think you might waver when price chops. RGTI's kind of very similar, but it's a little worse than QBTI. QBTS. Ion Q is actually kind of a good play. I would, even if they have like a lot of operating losses. What did I put here? Yeah, it has a lot of operating losses, but it is the revenue leader. So I would put a lot more faith in Ion Q, although sentiment is kind of meh on it right now. Rocket Lab, pretty decent. Definitely not crazy, but it does have potential for high growth. So I would look into Rocket Lab for sure. And of course, you have Palantir, Tesla, Nvidia, Apple as your safe plays. Yeah. But yeah, I would say out of the four that you're trading right now, IonQ and Rocket Lab are probably what I would be looking at. QBTS and RGTI is just kind of too risky for me. But, if your risk appetite is there and you believe in it, then absolutely, I think you'll be fine. Yeah. Because QBTS and RGTI they got net losses across the board. And they're not that liquid, and they're burning cash super quickly. But because their company is so novel, at least right now, it looks it looks good. Like, if you really believe in it, then absolutely. So you can see what I mean. Like, yes, the value is gonna plummet if everything across the board is negative. And you did get rejected at 15. You did get that diamond trend shift, so you are going down. So there is still potential to buy, right? You can still buy in. I don't know if you want to buy in at this point because the trend just changed. I would wait for something like this on the CPO Plus to buy QBTS. Um, so yeah, I guess between the two, between QBTS and RGTI, I'd probably place my bet on QBTS, but I wouldn't. I don't fully believe in it or on either. IonQ and Rocket Lab do look interesting to me. Okay. Oh goodness, that's not good. Oh, that's not good. All right, so the 30-minute close. So I guess now we can be looking for some trades. Okay, we got 1 hour to look. Hold on, let me stretch. Oh, oh. I don't have 10 years of experience, but I feel like I got 10 years of back pain. I don't know about you guys, but back pain's a bitch. It just really is. Okay. Okay, let's look at what we've got here. So, theoretically, if it does go to this volume point, we can maybe take a long, right? Along here. And you can even put like a fairly tight stop loss if it continues down, which I do think it most likely will, based on what we're seeing. This is just like a little bit of Bitcoin being shy to take a pookie in front of us. So maybe that could be a play, and then you could literally just long it to maybe like 73.8, right? Something like that. Yeah, might be a little bit shy to take a dookie in front of us. Ugh, I don't want to think about it. Yeah, because right now mine is all upper back, and then the occasional I gotta stretch like that to to stretch it out and remove the tension. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is the kind of thing that's gonna get posted on YouTube. But yeah, I do think we're gonna break down. Let's go to the 5 minutes and the 1 hour on maybe like cleaner chart. Oh, let's look at USDT dominance before we do, just so we got an idea. So, yeah. Yesterday I was saying this could be a broadening wedge, right? It could, because it's now set up the point over here to allow you to fully form that broadening wedge. Having said that, if it is a broadening wedge, the conditions for getting a 80 plus K Bitcoin, or close to 90K plus Bitcoin before the drop, is absolutely possible, right? This is setting up the condition for an 80 plus Bitcoin. And this right here is setting up the condition for us to maybe go down. We can see that we are right below the previous week low. So if you drop like this, then absolutely you will get an 80 plus Bitcoin within the next 2 weeks. But that's also setting up USDT dominance to skyrocket again. And I think because of the fact that we're over here now, and we're at a lower point than we were at this point. So this is March 16. Oh, oopsie. Nope, 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 nope. No, no, no. If you watch the recording of this stream, you guys are gonna laugh at me. No, no, it's not responding. No. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, hold on, guys. Yeah. For context, I act. Okay, I don't know if you. Can you guys hear me? Is everything okay? Can you guys hear me? Okay, perfect. So for context, on my personal Google account, because my girl plays Minecraft, right? So we have a copper golem as a pet, and I didn't want it to rust, so I was looking on how to like stop the thing from oxidizing, and then that appeared. So if you watch the recording of this, there will just be a point where it's like how to stop a copper golem from oxidizing. Uh, oh, it's gonna be so funny. It's gonna be so cooked when OC watches this. Okay. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So it is setting up that potential, right? We can see there is a divergence, right? Directionally, you're headed down on your CPO plus for USDT dominance, while your buying delta has increased, right? So that just tells me that when we go down, this might just twist like this and then skyrocket up, and this skyrockets up. So I do think that there is. Oh wait, we also needed to check where we were in March 17. That's right. So if we go back all the way to March 17, right? This is March 17. We were at $76,000. So we're not that far off. Uh, we will technically drop a little more. So that does mean that there's more crypto being bought, which is good, right? So we can expect something above $75,000, especially if we're already near that price and we're just over here. So if we go over here, we're looking at 80,000. But the moment this pushes up, the same is true, and we're gonna probably crash in a not so fantastic way. This is currently what I'm analyzing. What are your thoughts? As I see it, I believe it's temporary bullish run time frame. Ooh, it's definitely something. Yeah, and I do see this as potential because it is an ascending channel, right? The top the top trend line places you at 79,804, which is absolutely a place where you can get rejected. You don't have to go to 80 plus K. Uh, However, I'd probably look at lowering the rejection a little bit. If you can put like a trend line in the middle and see where that runs through, you'll see what I mean. Where it's like it got rejected at the half of that trend line, but if you get above it, it's gonna use that half part of the channel as support, and then it could bounce up to 79,804. Then I think it's fake outs from there. So I do agree that that is definitely something worth watching. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Okay. Ooh. 50 minutes on the show. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Yeah, it's falling. I'll move that. My bad. Oh, nope. There we go. Okay. Now let's remove all the drawings first. That's the indicators. All drawings. Alright, take care, Ali man. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Or if you watch the stream or the recording and laugh at me. But yeah, good luck at your meeting. Take care. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then there were four. But yeah, I do want to see what happens here, because we could probably set up a scalp long, if especially if this 30 minutes goes oversold. And you can see that this is real. The previous day low is really acting as support, which is wild. Oh, BCH crossed 634. Let's look at BCH. Do, 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 do. Max Verstappen. Do, 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 do. Ooh. Ooh, that looks like a good long for BCH. We could probably do that. Interesting. Let's let's hide this first. Go back here. So it did bounce, but hasn't really printed a triangle. Yeah, this area right here looks good for a long. This might be our trade for today. Let's go to a higher time frame, and let's check out those predictive ranges again. So the structure 618 is at 430, right? You do have something over here 421, so that can be a stop loss area. And then you aim for that point of interest. Could be something. Yeah, hey Sky Noob, welcome. Let's go back to the 1 hour and see if it's at the relative position that we were at earlier. Yeah, it's basically at the same position. I don't know why I said it like that. It's basically at the same position. Very interesting. And that puts us at our discount. Now the 50 minutes does have a measured move all the way down. It is oversold. I don't know. I don't think it'll go to its measured move. Although there's basically liquidity resting here and here, so it could go for it. But if Bitcoin pushes upwards, then I think Bitcoin Cash is gonna follow a little bit. Could be something. So yeah, let's keep Bitcoin Cash on our radar. Let's look at ZEC. So ZEC's been doing fairly well. We can see it pumped all the way up. It's since lost, and it's dropping a little bit. But here on the 12 hour, it's only printed its red reversal triangle now, and you can see that we are getting that drop in buying delta. Now, what is interesting is there's an FVG right here. So if we draw that line and see where it lands on the 1 hour, it's about where your FVG starts, right? So a potential range to look at for ZEC would be something like this. Yeah, something like that. That area right there could be a potential long for ZEC. Because this could just be a retracement. Go back here. Right, and that acts as your support on the ribbon. And you bounce back up, go back oversold. That would translate to a move to your measured move on Bitcoin Cash. Could be. I definitely see it. Let's look at Ethereum. So, what's on the watch list? Oopsie, I dropped my flashlight. I need a pen. Okay, I have one right here. So, potential watch list is BCH, ZEC, and of course our pal BTC. Yeah. Hey Ruska, welcome. let us go back to Bitcoin, see what it's up to. So again, potentially, okay, let's bring that back. And then let's turn off dynamics here just so it's like a little bit more bearable. I know it's a little cluttered. Uh, so yeah, could be looking at this move. So I don't know if I want to call this endorsement just yet. Uh, because of the fact that technically I am waiting for the 4 hour to print its next move. I want to see if it bounces off its zero line, which I won't be able to do on the stream because, well, it's after the purview of the stream. But I do want to see if this plays out, like if we get a bounce off that zero line. And I do want to see if this will just do a little bit of a dip and then head back up. But if you guys were able to enter the short yesterday, if you guys did stay in the short, congratulations. You've made quite a lot of money. Uh, and technically it entered over here. So this was the drop already, and then it came back. So yeah. So I am looking at this area for a potential long. It could fall off, absolutely. If it does, then that would be great. So what I'm looking for are the conditions to basically make this an endorsement. Move here. You can wick below it, you can push below it, but you need to basically close above your quantum reactor. Then from there, maybe you can consolidate a little bit and then push up. That's what I think I'll be looking for with this move. But yeah. Let's go to Bitcoin Cash. So it is falling. Maybe we could take a scalp on Bitcoin Cash. This is the 1 hour. Let's make this the 5 minutes. So it is oversold on the 15 minutes, so we have to be careful, because that could lead to another bounce. And you can see that there is this big gap over here, from here to here. But I really don't think we're going to fill that right now. Potentially you could be setting up for bullish butt cheeks, right? Go for that resistance and FVG right over here or over here. But because this is a gap, I'm less inclined to believe in that FVG. Then take a short at this point. That could be interesting as well. But given that the lower time frame is oversold, I kind of don't want to touch Bitcoin Cash. Looking at ZEC, let's go to the 5 minutes and the 1 hour for this guy. Okay, so the 1 hour just got that change in the zero line for the what's this, for the Delta Pulse Wave. Here on the 5 minutes, it is trying to push itself back up. So it could fall at this FVG at 312, and then it could push further down into this long region. So if we look at it, right, a potential short would look something like this, with that above maybe equilibrium at the very least, then a push down to about here, and that's about 1 to 3, which is fairly good. I say fairly good, but that's my standard. Maybe actually no, 1 to 2 is my standard, but 1 to 3 is amazing. So this could be something. Back to Bitcoin. It is still stationary. We did get core PCE today, but then, as expected, it didn't really do much because it kind of hit everything on the target. So, yeah, not a lot of things right now to move the market a certain way, other than the war, of course. Oh, I didn't mean to draw. Actually, let's have a look at gold. I wonder how gold's doing. Haven't looked at the guy for quite a while. We did get a break of structure here. did fall off. We found support on the dynamic reactor, which is fantastic. And we are getting this push to the upside. Now, this is a short I was basically calling for, well, not calling, but like ideated for a couple weeks now. It looks like it's approaching the level. And if you zoom out and you put, let's say, a parallel channel down here by the wick, place it over here, it does look like it's in an ascending channel. So it could be something. We can actually move this a little bit. Right, aim for that area right there for maybe a short. Then we can lower the stop loss to increase the RR. Right, even lower if you want, just to be sure. That also could work, and that places you neatly at 4,427. So definitely something that we could look at. Go back to Bitcoin, nothing's happening. Is it smart to short Zcash right now? They're kind of overextended. I don't want to short these guys, but I also don't want to long them. Let's try looking at maybe slightly higher time frames. That will give us any clarity. Let's also maybe pull out some of our predictive ranges. So there's not really a lot here other than this one. So that could tell us that, you know, we could push back here. How about here? Let's see if we can use any of our predictive ranges. Yeah, no, other than the fact that this is the 618 right here. So, I mean, if you do take a short on Zcash, moving it up over here, placing that over there, and then going for this does make quite a lot of sense. You still get a 1 to 3 risk to reward. Definitely could be something. We can also see that there are more shorts than shorts in terms of futures, but people are buying Zcash. Yeah, this could be something. It's like a pseudo recovery. Looks like a mini scalp long in BTC. So this matrix right here tells you basically futures, right, Ruska? So that's what the money flow matrix tells you. And then the volume matrix tells you like spot. So there's people buying spot. And if it's red, that means people are selling spot. So if you have both shorts and spot shorts or spot selling, then you get downside. But if you have people buying spot and then people shorting, that tells you that potentially you will get some sort of reversal soon because people are buying the token as people are trying to short the token. Yeah. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Potentially, yeah. You're very welcome. Actually, I should go to a lower time frame. Yeah. So you basically held the support. And we are oversold to the diamond trend shift. Having said that, though, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. 15 minutes just went oversold, but we still have 4 minutes before the close. You did lose your reactors already on the 15 minutes, and you did get that change of character. We still do have room to extend to the downside according to the MVP ribbon. So maybe now is not the time to go long. I want to see how it does at the support and how it does at this level. But yeah, I mean, I've shared the same idea that going long is what we want to do because there's a lot of confluence saying we can go long at this point. But as it stands, I don't think now is the time to go long. Hold on one sec, guys. I'll just quickly do something. Oh yeah, I'm back. What did NYSE say? Let me just check the chat. I mean, don't worry, it's not a dumb question. If it's for indicators, I don't think it's a dumb question. How do I apply delta pulse indicator? How does it act as? Okay, so what I find very fascinating about the delta pulse wave is, unlike a lot of the other indicators that chart primes release, there's no like video documentary telling you the features, right? But how I've been able to use it is essentially it's a expanded version of the volume matrix. Now, what does that mean? So, if we pull out, let's go here. I think, and then let's just change this. This is actual BCH. Funny. Okay, let's look at the actual 4 hour on BCH. Right. Oh man, this is the BCH short I canceled. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Okay. Anyways, you win some, you miss some. Oh, you win some, you lose some, and you miss some. Anyways, it's basically an expanded version of the volume matrix. Oh no. This is like way back when. This is like 3 days ago. I said cancel the BCH short. I think we're heading up, and it touched the entry, very little drawdown, and yeah. This is the 4 hour. Don't worry, you didn't distract me. Don't worry about it. Seriously. Anyways, and what do I mean by that? So each little peak here, right? How you interpret this is there's more buying than selling. So if you subtract buys, that is not a B, minus sells, right? You get your delta. Now, if the delta is positive, you get these things right here. And if the delta is negative, then you get these things right here. So it's essentially looking at who is king. And is it overwhelmingly so? So, as we can see at this peak, it's overwhelmingly buys. And that translates to a huge move to the upside. Right? I don't know if it's calculating futures, because futures are considered buys. But what's true is, at this point, there are more buying than selling. Way more buying than selling. And as you can see, when this delta starts to drop, that's when you can essentially see that huge move to the downside. Or you get a move to the downside. So it's not RSI because it isn't looking at the relative strength of the candles. It's not necessarily momentum, but it gives you insight on the actual activity in an oscillator format. And it tells you divergences. So that is very interesting because it's essentially like putting a divergence on the volume matrix in and of itself. I think it does include futures. I don't know because as a pro analyst, my job is really just to analyze, but intuitively and based on experience, I do think it's taking in futures to account. So it's essentially combining these two things together, right? So if you look, there are more shorts than there are people buying spots, so you result in a negative delta. And that's very useful because if you're only looking at the CPO plus, right, you know that there are more shorts futures wise, but there are people buying. but you don't know which one is overpowering which. You just know they're present. And I find that this right here tells me which one's overpowering the other. So it's basically a completion of the CPO plus. At least that's how I am able to visualize and see it. So it's just that last bit of information that lets you know, okay, at this point, even if there's people shorting, there are more people buying, or spot wise. So it goes up. But at this point, as we're dropping, okay, more people are shorting, even if the buys are constant, but the selling delta is now winning. So that's when you might want to go short. Oh yeah, sure. Which one? So the reason I like this on higher time frames and why I keep the MVP ribbon on lower time frames is because I find it's more meaningful on the higher time frames because this can get noisy, but on the lower time frames, momentum is king. So yeah, at least that's what I think. Oh yeah, sure. Prime Oscillator Pro Plus. I see you do have the Pro Plus. Well, you have the Plus subscription, so you have access to this. So the stuff I turned with an H, Jesus. I turned off True Seven. It's a great leading indicator, but it kind of clutters the oscillator a little bit, so I don't really like it. I turned off VWAP OBOS because if you have over the regular overbought oversold, and you have money flow tracker, you have like money flow divergence, diamond shift, it gets a little bit cluttered as well. And yeah, everything else is basically stock or default. I just changed the colors a little bit, and then for style, the only thing I really changed is just the labels, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, feel free to take a screenshot, but everything else should be default. Yeah. Yeah, take care, NYSE. I'll probably see you tomorrow. Yeah, take care. You're very welcome, Ruska. Okay, let's see who else is here. Hey, JD. Oh man, I love dogs. That's a very adorable dog you have there. Oh hey, hey Malik, or is it Malik? I keep forgetting. But yeah, welcome. I don't know. Okay, part of me feels like Bruce Wayne is coming back because my voice is like cracking, or not like dropping every other sentence. But yeah, welcome Scalp King. Damn, stock scalping samurai and Scalp King. That's some military, I don't know, historical battle I'd like to see. Okay, but yeah, I am convinced. Yeah, that would make sense too, that you guys would be friends. Yeah, I don't think I do think we're gonna go to this area right here. But again, I do want to see how we react at 70,000 ish, right? Before we make any calls. Zcash could short here. It could short because it is a continuation, and we'd be able to scalp that to the predictive range at 303. Could be something. Because this is a confirmed bearish cross on the 15 minutes. No, I am not a Sagittarius. Do you want to continue guessing, or do you want to know the answer right away? Because I'm willing to share. I'm not a Sagittarius. No. Oh, you want to know the answer? I am a Cancer. That sounds really wrong, uh, out loud. Like I'm. Anyways, but yeah, my zodiac sign's a Cancer. Yeah. Yeah. I don't really believe in zodiac signs, but it is fun as a talking point because I get to say it's always weird to say Cancer. So yeah. uh, my Chinese zodiac. I am a wood monkey. Yeah. So I don't know. Do with that information what you do what you will with that information, but yeah. Cancerian. Ooh, okay. Cancerian. All right. I like that. Makes me sound less like the medical condition. But it sounds like I'm part of a school called okay, no. It's even worse. You're right. It is worse. Yeah. A school called Cancer. Oh, that's cool. Damn. So we're born like 12 years apart? Yeah? Yeah, we have to be born 12 years apart. Yeah. That's really cool. Um, okay. Um, back pain. Not by that much, but yes. Oh, I can't. I know another generation of monkeys, people with monkey as their zodiac sign has been born. That's when you know you've gotten a little old. It's only 3 more years. Oh no, 2 more years, and then another generation of monkeys are gonna be born, and I'll just be like, damn, I'm old. So we did get the confirmed change of character here on the 15 minutes. Okay, I actually do have to look for some sort of move right now. I kind of like Zcash. I don't know about you guys, but I like the odds with Zcash because unlike let's say Bitcoin where there is the possibility that it bounces at the 4 hour, I think Zcash drops a little more because look at the 12 hour. Right? I think it drops a little more. If we go to Bitcoin compared to 12 hour to what we have on Zcash, it's not overextended. So there is still that chance for a bounce at this region, right? So it could be something. Whereas with Zcash, it, it 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 is overextended, and it does look like it wants downside all the way to about this region here on the FVG. Uh, Having said that, going back to Bitcoin, we're still shorting it from 71,800, right? The question just remains as to what we want to do. Again, I think it goes here. I really do. So, I think I'm just gonna wait it out. A little bit of weird of a Thursday. Bitcoin Cash. I don't know why it's all the drawing tool. Okay. I just realized now I can right click to get rid of the drawing tool if I drew something. More you know. 1 hour could push down. So I do think I would probably I think we'd also have to wait a little bit for Bitcoin Cash to make sense. So maybe gold's our friend today. Gold could be a long. Gold could actually be a long, but it could double bottom or bullish butt cheek our way through. So yeah. I know, it is a winning combo. It is a winning combo. Okay, just for fun, let's look at oil, see what it's up to. So again, I do think at this point it's kind of playing with us, right? So this triangle is clearly outdated, so let's get rid of that triangle. But what we do have now appears to be, let's see if it's true. It's a little bit of an ugly fit. Let's try it to lower this a little bit. Yeah, I feel like this is a better fit. So it does appear to be an ascending channel. So that's good news for everyone in the sense that it is an ascending channel. It could continue up, but these are it's going to be unsustainable and it's going to want to break down eventually. Yeah. So looks like oil could be something. Uh wouldn't short it. I could we could long it. Yeah. Yeah, we could long it to this region. And I did say we should take a short around here, but I don't trade oil, fortunately. But it looks like that area right there was fairly spot on. Right, it couldn't sustain that move. And you did, and this is like the 90% of the wick, and this right here is the 70% of the wick. So we got to about 95%, I would say. So fairly good. Very good, very good in terms of the TA there. Uh, I know I said couple days, not weeks. Yeah, was it days? It was last week. I said a week ago that Ondo could be doing something interesting, but it's consolidating. I have no clue what real world assets are doing right now. It was such a fun narrative in 2024, but now it's really not doing anything. So, although it's times like this where not doing anything and being oblivious to it could mean that it's primed to do something, right? They just want you to ignore it. So, well, I do revisit this every so often to see what's up. But yeah, it's really just ranging right now. And this is like bear market lows. Yeah, it's like the first kind of resistance. So first support, first resistance, first support, kind of faced resistance here, broke above actual resistance, and then just flew to just 600%. Right now, it's just consolidating. So kind of a very similar juncture here, but this one is just a tighter consolidation. Okay, so Bitcoin is pushing up. So that might have been the long. I guess it wasn't over here. But let's see. But it did get above the point of interest, which does tell me that if you get above this, maybe it's time to take that scalp long that uh, Gur was talking about. But if it gets rejected here, then it's going back down to this area. So that would be fascinating. We do have 15 minutes left on the show, so if you guys have any questions related to indicators, assets, absolutely anything, ask away. Yeah. Okay, we're getting that test now. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think you're looking here at the 4 hour. Let's go to Bitcoin because I think that had a better looking example. Yeah, absolutely. I got you. So red dot means red dot. Red diamond means a trend shift. So that's related to price action itself. So at this point, it detected a shift in trend, which you can see. Actually, let's turn off a couple of these things so we can actually see better. Yeah, so you can see that at this point, we did get some kind of doji candle. Now the red diamond will activate after, like will only activate the candle after, so it is a little lagging, but you kind of need that to determine if the trend has shifted. So it just confirms, or it just tells you that from this candle onwards, this was the moment that the trend shifted. So we could be looking for shorts, which is what we technically did over here. Now the blue circle is what's known as the uh, peak seeker. But I would just call it peak sell because the bottom one is PB in what's this? It's called PB in the alert system. Yeah, I think it's here. Yeah, PB. So I just call this peak sell. And what that means is, uh, well, first of all, it's one of the rarer signals to get. It just means that it thinks that this right here is a local top, right? It thinks it's a local top and you've really started moving down. Yeah. Ooh, 10, 7, 79.77. Ooh, we really could get a fixed close. If that's the case, then we can maybe take a scalp long. Yeah. Anyways, going back to the thing, right? Uh, Yellow dot. So there's also a yellow dot, but in my case, I changed it into a tag. So what it's saying is there's a divergence in money flow. So while money flow is red, you can see that here. While it's red, something is happening in the order books that's basically saying that while people are shorting, there seems to be some sort of divergence between people buying and selling. So even if not visually, this is more people are shorting, and the transition is that people are selling. There seems to be some sort of force that's pushing it up. So you can see at this point, right, there is a divergence, and it did play out up until you got your reversal triangle, and that indicated the move to the downside. So there's just something fishy with money flow when you get the yellow dot. So just a recap, diamond is trend shift. There's a trend shift on the price. Blue dot is it thinks it's a local top or a local bottom. And then yellow dot is there is a divergence in money flow. So while visually this looks, that's a very good example here. So while visually this right here is there's a lot of shorts, there is some sort of thing that's putting pressure on price, and we can see that afterwards we got a push in the people buying spot, and eventually that money flow divergence led into people shifting from shorts to longs, but that was very short lived. So yeah. No. Let me send the link for that. Uh, it's called Delta Pulse Wave. So yeah, it's source code, open source script. Let me just send the link. Here you go, Ruska. That is for you. You're very welcome. So, ooh, strong push. That is a very strong push. Now, if we can close above it like this, I think we'd be in good hands. But even on the 5 minutes, kind of struggling. Let's watch it closely on the 5 minutes. But yeah, there's 9 minutes left on the show. I hope that answered your question, Malik. And this is recorded. I will post it as soon as I can. I just have to run it through Handbrake, and then, yeah. Oh, hey, again, I really don't want to butcher names, so I'll just, hey, Cunnel, welcome, and Focus Crypto, welcome to the show. Hope you guys are doing okay. We still have about 9 minutes left on the show. Well, technically 8 minutes left on the show. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Yeah. Uh, wait. Blue is short, red is long. What do you mean? Oh, do you mean like the signals? The blue one can also appear at the bottom. That just means like local something. So if it's at the top, local top. If it's at the bottom, local bottom. Uh, and then this red diamond, can be a green diamond. So when you see the diamond, it just means trend shift. And then yellow is divergence in money flow. What does the spider web and hidden divergence mean? And how do we spot them? What is the difference between green, blue, and yellow divergence lines? Okay, so uh, by default, I think this is your green, red, yellow. Oh wait, no, I should probably just load the default. Yeah. Let's load the default. Where is it? There we go. Okay. So I assume the spiderweb line you're talking about is true 7. Like if I remove the main oscillator, it's this one, right? This thing. Yeah, let me collapse this so we can actually see it better. Oh, the main divergence. Oh, this one. So, green is bullish divergence. Red is bearish divergence. Yellow is a hidden bullish divergence. Orange is a hidden bearish divergence. So the conditions to reach a hidden bullish divergence are. Shoot, what are the conditions? I should know this. I should know this. Ah, man. The way I just know it's a hidden bullish divergence, but don't remember the conditions. What a pro analyst. Anyways, a hidden bullish divergence. Okay, because regular divergence is right here. Let me turn off true 7, and where is this? Okay, it's at the top here. Main oscillator, old shape, turn off true 7 because I don't like it. Alright, regular bullish divergence is when price essentially makes a same low or lower low, but we form a higher low, right? That is basically a bullish divergence. It means that despite price action showing a weaker candle or price, the strength or the relative strength on our oscillator is greater, right? So higher low, lower low, or equal low. A hidden bullish divergence, as shown here, right, at this point, is when we've basically made a higher low on price action. So we can see that over here, at this point, we made a higher low, right? This is the low over there. This is the close over here. But then we made a lower low on our oscillator. So that is a hidden bullish divergence, right? So, yeah. Now, a regular bearish divergence is when you make a lower high, but then a higher high on price action. So that's a regular bearish divergence. So lower high on the oscillator, but higher high. Now a hidden bearish divergence, as shown at this point, is when you have a lower high on price action, but then an equal high here or a higher high. So if we draw a trend line at this point and we plot it over here, we can see that price action formed a lower high, but then we have an equal high over here. So you don't need to remember the specifics of what makes a hidden bullish divergence a hidden bullish divergence, hidden bearish divergence. Just know that if it's a hidden bearish divergence, you're likely going to see some downside. If it's a hidden bullish divergence, you're likely going to see some upside. So if it's bullish, then you're going to see some relief or some upside. If it's bearish, you're going to see a breakdown or downside. That's how I would go about it. Yeah. What do you mean by spider web? Yeah, please test me. I do love a good test. Okay, so 5 minutes close like this. Yeah. This is what I get. I remember when Chart Prime first scouted me out, they were like, okay, what's blah blah blah. And I was like, oh yeah, and then now doing the streams, I'm just like, yeah, it's a divergence. But yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. Essentially, the divergence is just telling you that the move is not sustainable, if that makes sense. So the reason why we have to classify the divergences is because sometimes, right, if you don't see the bullish div, then or the hidden bullish div, then you're not able to act on it. But price will act on it, right? It will be influenced by the price. If it makes it easier, right? If you don't really care about the classification, and if you don't really care about, or if it won't bother you too much, that when you're analyzing, you don't have to differentiate between the two, because there are some real sticklers in the trading community, right? There's some real sticklers like, no, it's not a bullish divergence, it's a hidden bullish. But anyways, if you're not really huge on the differentiation, obviously with my job, I have to tell you guys what the actual divergence is, or that would be dishonest, right? You can just change it to the same color. Like, you can just make the hidden bullish bearish and hidden bearish the same color. And then this blue is just multiple divergences. So if it's at the top, it's multiple bearish. If it's at the bottom, it's multiple bullish. This red spider web. Oh, that's just bearish divergences. Like a lot of bearish divergences. It's like 3 bearish divergences. Yeah. So it can also happen to the bottom. So yeah, if it's a little confusing, just make the hidden bearish and bearish the same color, red red, and then hidden bullish and bullish the same color, green green. If it gets a little confusing, right? So I guess let's try to look for an example of a spider web thing going on here. It's kind of rare. Okay, so this is the spider web at the top, right? That just means there's bearish divergences happening, but it can also happen at the bottom. Granted, I don't know when the last time we had it. I don't know. It's been a while. Maybe on a... Okay, yeah. So here. It can happen at the bottom as well. Alright, that about ends the stream. So I guess as a recap, we should look at the 15 minutes, see how it closed. So it did close above the quantum and dynamic reactor, I believe, and we are testing the 618. But we are in the point of control, so I'll be monitoring this very carefully to see how we do. But I'll keep you guys posted. I'll also be reviewing the Zcash and Bitcoin Cash ideas, but rest assured that before the day ends, I'll probably send a signal because I owe you guys one. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me today, and I'll be back tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. EST. So mark the calendars if you'd like to hang out with me tomorrow. And yeah, thank you for joining me, guys. Once again, I am Langstrom, and don't forget to always use a stop loss. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Go. Where is the long shorts or scalping?